Hello and welcome to our podcast on what we are calling the feedback loop of fun. This is the process we use in order to give feedback to you guys as young writers, and we would like for you to access that feedback as according to this podcast. I think writing is one of the more challenging things to get across between students and teachers, and oftentimes students see writing as just an end, meaning something I just have to do and make a checklist of and just be done with and put away as fast as possible, whereas teachers see it as a couple things. One, it is a means to an end, meaning that you can improve how you write, and so the feedback we give you is not just a grade, but it is things that you have done well and also things where you can improve upon. So that the next time we ask you to write, you may not make the same mistakes, and you may implement some of the things that you did well last time again. And so oftentimes I think teachers and students talk past each other. Students are just looking for the final grade on something, where teachers are seeing it as an opportunity to converse or talk about writing, the writing process, how things went last time. So we've created what we call this feedback loop of fun to try and encourage you guys as students to access the feedback, not just the final grade. So here we go. So let's go ahead and go through this. Step one is you've written an assigned paper. And so what do? Step one, you kind of have to wait for us to assess your work. Now, ideally, at the high school level, when we assign a piece of writing to be done, we are expecting that you have used all of those great pre, during, and revising strategies that they have been teaching you at the middle school, so that the item that you turn in is not just some sort of first draft, sloppy copy, rough draft, whatever you may call it, but that you have done a lot of work on that behind the scenes. We are not going to be your editors. We will point out what's going well for you. We will also point out some major areas where you can improve, but we are not going to go line by line and capitalize the T for you. We're not going to correct all of your errors for you. And so this may be a shift for some of you, this may not be, but we're going to try and push you more toward independence. With that said, ideally the copy that you're turning in that first time is a relatively polished, more final draft. It's not just something you sat down for 15 minutes at your computer to do and then just turned it in. So once you have waited for us to assess that, please log on to turnitin.com, where many of your assignments are probably going. And there's the logo again, just in case you forgot. Please go back and find your paper in your inbox. And this is what it looks like from our end. Actually, on your end, you will see something that says View. And so if you view the paper there, you should see your originally submitted draft, and you will see little comment bubbles. And that's where you really need to be focusing. So step 3, click on View, which in this older screenshot doesn't show up, but basically it's going to be right next to the button that said Submit. You'll click View. What we call Grade Mark, this is where we make comments. That program, that part of turnitin.com, will open. And this is where we've typed comments. And it looks something like this, where you'll have your original paper, you'll have little comment bubbles up there. Perhaps we have highlighted something and then made a comment on that section, or maybe it's just a standalone bubble. At this point, this is what you're looking for. This is the feedback that we have, as instructors, have given you. These are the places where we're telling you, hey, keep up that kind of work, that's good stuff, or maybe you want to change this or that kind of stuff in the future. So do we notice those bubbles? There they are again. So we want to hover our mouse over those bubbles, and that's where those comments will begin to be revealed. Aha, wrong mouse, but you know what we're talking about. Comments will appear something like this. So if you hover over that bubble down there that we've highlighted a little chunk, you can see what we wrote. A run-on sentence has been created here. And so that's not just for you to go, hey, awesome, yay for me, I've made a run on. It's for you to look at that and go, ooh, maybe next time I need to look at that same or similar structure and not do that again. That would be what we're we're pushing you to. Additionally, like we said, we're not going to be your editors. We're not going to go in there and make all the corrections for you. We may point out where errors are and then expect you to correct those for the next time. Additionally, if you have a continuing issue with, say, capitalization or run-ons or something that happens throughout the entire paper, most likely we're probably going to mark that in the first couple paragraphs only, with the expectation that you look at that and say, hey, if I'm making that error in the intro paragraph, I'm probably making that error throughout the entire paper. And so the expectation is, if we've marked it once for run-ons or caps or whatever, that you apply that cross-paper as you seek to revise that or apply it to the next paper. Please, please read those comments, learn them, love them, and live them. Absolutely. So when we make comments on your English papers, we expect you to apply them to all of your papers, whether that be in the social science classes, your science labs, your math write-ups, whatever you're doing. A run-on is a run-on in any sort of class. So if you're having that issue in English, make sure you correct that for all of your subject's papers. Another step here. I'm going to ask ourselves, am I happy with these comments, with my efforts, and then finally with my grade? And if you're happy with all three, step 8 becomes party like a rock star, because you're done. But if you go back and ask yourself, am I happy with these comments, my efforts, and my grade? And if you are not happy with any of these three, that's where we have some choices to make. Comes step 9. If you are not happy with those, this is what we recommend that you do, to grab the revision ticket of entry. And it looks like this document. And this is on our website, this is on our class wiki. This is the document that we ask you to use to start the revision process. And so, ideally, you have done some revising and proofreading on your own before you have submitted your draft to us. If you're happy with everything on there, you're finished. If not, or if we tell you, wow, you really missed the mark, you wrote on the wrong prompt or something like that, then we're going to ask you to revise it. Or if you're not happy with your efforts, your marks, or your grades, then you can choose to revise some of these larger, more summative papers. We ask you to fill out this revision ticket of entry that asks you in step 1 to look at the strengths of your paper and the weaknesses, so to be reflective on what you did well and what you didn't. And then step 2, to go to some sort of outside writing resource. And if we continue to mark things like you have run-on issues here or capitalization issues, we want you to go to some sort of other resource to find out why those things are wrong and how you might correct them. So we give you some suggested titles there, The Writer's Ink, Little Brown Handbook, etc. Find the page number where they talk about, say, run-on sentences, write that down, write down what you've learned about how you're going to do this. Then go back and revise your paper, and then you're going to turn all of that stuff back in. Your original draft, your revised draft, and this ticket of entry. And the point is, we want to make sure that you are thinking about what you have done, and not just grade chasing. Not just saying, hey, if I put in one more period, will that make my 89 a 90? Because that's the eternal issue that teachers and students have. Students just want to be able to, as quickly as possible, get through a writing assignment and get a grade on it. Teachers are using these as a means to an end to say, hey, at this particular moment in time, you're scoring at about an 85%, or you are meeting standards, whatever system you're on. If you want to get better, take our comments. And so if you want that to become a 90% or an exceeding standards, you're going to have to do some substantial work. It's not just a comma or a semicolon. It's perhaps moving chunks of the paper, new paragraphs added or subtracted or moved around. There's going to need to be some substantial work and thought on your part, and so that's why we ask that you fill out this ticket of entry in order to be considered for your revision grade. If you don't want to complete that form and you think it'd be more efficient to talk and conference with us, we would love that. We agree that talking and conferencing is probably more effective and efficient. So either way, if you're going to submit a revision, please either use that revision ticket of entry or make an appointment to conference with one of us so we can talk about what's good, what's not, what you can do better next time. And as mentioned before, once you have done that revision ticket of entry or had that conference, you're going to resubmit a hard copy of the revision for further assessment. And ideally, that will be better than the first thing you did because you've put in more thought, you've put in more time, we've made some more input and revisions, and so ideally, that will be better overall, and most likely will translate to a slightly, if not majorly, improved grade. And if you're happy with that draft, effort, and grade, go back to partying like a rock star. Party on, Wayne. Party on, Garth. And if not, well, let's repeat that cycle. And if it takes us 5 more revisions to get where we want to be, fine. If it takes us 2, if it takes us 10, we're fine with that. But we want to keep making sure that we are improving substantially every time, not just capitalizing one word and saying, is this good enough? Probably not. So we want to continue that cycle. Definitely like shampoo. Rinse, repeat, that kind of good stuff. Yes, not a squeaky clean. And so continue to repeat until you are happy with your draft, your effort, and your grade. Then, there we go. Party on Wayne, party on Garth. Please notice what was not on this list. Going to the paper and then just walking away and never checking on your grade or your comments. Also, turning in the paper, just checking out the final grade on Infinite Campus, and then walking away. And definitely not just turning it in and not accessing the comments. The great thing about turnitin.com now is that we can see if you have accessed the comments. And so next to our little grade mark button, there's a little shadow button of like a student head or something that starts to come on when you have accessed it after we have made comments. So if you access it before we graded it, it doesn't show up. It will only show up if you have accessed it after we have made those comments. And so it is exceptionally important to read the comments. Go past just the 85% or the 72 or whatever it is. Look at the comments. Those are the things that will make a better difference the next time. So in sum, definitely write, get the feedback, reflect, conference, and revise if we need to improve this paper, or apply these things to next paper, next effort, and across all curriculums. Revise and rewrite, and then ideally achieve that inner harmony from your efforts, your thinking, and your grade. And then hopefully you're partying on like Wayne and Garth. That's the goal. So again, our hope is to give feedback about what is going well, what is doing okay, and what are some things that you can improve upon. Because not only could you revise that paper and just make that draft better, but you can also take this and apply it to future papers. You know you're going to have to keep writing, not only this year, but in the government and econ side, in the social science parts, in your science classes. And so if you can take this feedback that all of your teachers are giving you and look past just the grade, the letter grade, or the standard grade, and look at the comments, that's where you're going to make some traction to do a better job. So if you have any questions on this, please don't hesitate to ask. Make sure you bring those up in class. We'll get you all squared away. But this is how we expect you guys to use the comments that we spend time writing. So as always, if you have any questions, bring those in. If not, have a good one, and we will see you soon.